What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So, Kyle, I mean, lot's been happening here.
A lot, yes. A lot of employees, a lot is happening.
Yeah, so today we're gonna get into showing you guys all the new updates that have happened to the sanctuary. I mean, I don't know if you can see behind me, but there's maybe a wall there you guys haven't seen yet. So let's go check it out.
All right, so let's start with a little bit of what you guys do know. And this is the extra large enclosure. Now it looks a little different because it is completely ready for crocodiles. So you can see it's nice and high. The grass is filled in, you know, all the plants are settled in. We actually added another cat palm back there because every time, you know, even every week, we are learning more and more about crocodile behavior and what they like best. So obviously over here, the Nile group, the baby Niles, have taught us a lot already. They love to be on land most of the time, and they love being under plants. So that's why we had a sugar palm there, a cat palm there. We added another cat palm over on that corner too, just to give them that many more spaces to tuck themselves under, because they love to be on land. If it's pretty decently warm, especially in the summer nights, they love being out.
Wait, when did you add that cat palm? Isn't that what we were waiting on?
Yeah.
You didn't even tell me. Okay, so this is totally ready for crocodiles then.
Yeah, it is. So honestly, the only thing we're waiting on officially is the well. So we're still waiting. It's like we've gotten some crazy quotes on electrical to the wells. The wells are in, the pumps are on. We're just waiting to run electrical. We have to have a crazy breaker for it. So just getting a couple quotes, but we also have this tied into a separate pump system. So
it's still able to get water.
Exactly. So essentially, you know, if we're only running this one and that one, which this is gonna be for Cubans, that one's gonna be for Americans, and then we have the Niles and then the Philippines, we have a 3 horsepower pump that's plenty for all of this. Now, obviously it's not the cold months yet, so we don't have to worry about it, you know, to running a ton of water. So just enough water to keep it full is plenty. So we officially are ready to have the crocodiles move in.
So when do you think we'll be doing this?
Hopefully next week, honestly. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is we're gonna be introducing 4 females together here, hoping for the best, and then
hopefully a 1.2.
Not yet. Not yet. They got to get some size on them first.
Oh, you're not gonna put the male?
Oh, over there?
Yeah.
Yes. I thought you meant over here.
Oh, no. And with the Americans.
So hopefully it's a 1.2. We got to sex the one and hope that it is indeed a male. But
there will be at least 3 Americans in there.
Yeah. But that's the thing too, guys, is, you know, we're having some issues. Like, I'll be honest, we're having some issues with the freaking salties over at the new facility, just because there's not enough visual barriers. So we're actually going to have, we're going to actually add more visual barriers over there, a wallow in the corner. But that's where this enclosure really shines. Is, you know, it's cool to see there's behavior that, you know, some good, some bad, that show you, you know, that these enclosures are going to be something special because of how many visual barriers there are. So technically, this is a visual barrier from here to there because, again, crocodile's eyes are only that high. So that'll block from the deep section to the shallow section. Then they have this little wallow they can tuck into. But the biggest thing too, guys, is...
And a whole separate pond behind it too.
Well, that's the thing. Is just because you have a separate area like this, the crocodiles can easily just swim through and chase another one out. But in order for them to climb up on land and go around and then chase them out of that, it's a lot more strenuous. So that's why it's a lot safer, and it's definitely beneficial to have a completely separate body of water like that. So there's just so many different intricate little hideaways in these enclosures. I mean, guys, it's still big, but it's 52 by 60. Like, it's not this enormous enclosure like over there. I mean, the enclosures over the new facility are twice the size of this, but there's just so many little areas and enriching spots for the crocodiles. And that's why, I mean, I'm extremely proud of this enclosure. You know, there's a lot of stuff that you guys see that I'm changing on the large ponds, changing on the medium ponds. These ones are pretty dang good, I will say. I'll give myself a pat on the back for these enclosures because I'm excited to see what the crocodiles think.
Speaking of changes on the other ponds, they don't know the changes you're making on the medium ponds that you just said. So how about we go show them that? Because I don't even think we posted on Instagram.
No, Let's do it. All right, so obviously the new facility does have something very cool, and that is feeding platforms. And you know, having them over the large enclosures, having them at the extra large enclosures, and then dealing with those 14 crazy Niles, it's just nice to have. It would have been nice to have a feeding platform, but it's not too late. So we actually are adding feeding platforms to all of the medium enclosures.
And basically you're not taking away the gate you already have, you're just adding an extra element to go inside the enclosure.
We actually cut open the chain link here and add it in. So we're, I believe, 62 inches here. It has to be 5 foot at least by code for crocodilians. So we're good there. And then obviously we're letting this drain. Like I said, guys, we're having water pump into the extra large enclosures and the medium enclosures that have crocodiles in it. So this one, just a little low. But you can really see how cool it is because, again, not only did I see that they love to hide in all these nooks, but you know, then we give them the availability to hide under the feeding platform too. So that's like another cat palm per se.
And it's a better vantage point for us and for feeding. It makes it way easier. Just walk up, drop food in, keep going.
Exactly. So if we're away for a couple weeks, you know, I could have even Kevin feed them crocodile. You know, he just walks over, scoop in here, scoop in there, you know, we're end of story. It just, again, it just gives you such a different vantage point. Instead of, I'm just so tired of looking through chain link, where if we can just look, you know, with
basically a direct shot of the crocodile. And even if we found out of the other property, it's so much fun to watch them jump up. So there will be some animals that will jump in these enclosures.
It's just so awesome to have an uninterrupted view. And again, like Ryan said, it's great enrichment for the crocodiles because you can see we bumped it out 18 inches past the enclosure, so they can really get to the middle of the pond and launch out. So it's just great enrichment for the crocs and just high enough to be for code.
So you're gonna have feeding platforms in pretty much every enclosure now.
Everyone, I'm still, it's a lot of work, so I'm picking around if we do them on the small enclosures. Most likely we will.
Might as well.
Most likely we will. But the medium enclosures, the large enclosures, the extra large enclosures.
Just keep it consistent, you know, just everything.
So obviously, you know, I'd love to do like VIP tours where we can actually go through and have people come on the feeding platforms too and feed with us.
That'd be really cool.
That would be really cool.
So let's go show them the large enclosures because they haven't seen any of those yet.
Yeah.
They've seen the outline.
Let's check out the Philippines first.
Oh, okay. Go.
And the mediums, and then we'll go to larges. So this is going to be a fun one because there's 3 cranky crocodiles in these enclosures here, and we're going to be adding feeding platforms. Now the biggest thing is you know, building this. So what we'll do is we'll build it and then drop it in, take the fence down. We got to move that plant, and that tree should be good.
I think that one is because in the ones that already have the platform, there's a palm on each side, I believe.
Yeah, they just moved it over.
Oh, okay.
So we should be good, but these crocodiles are so cranky. So you can see the young female here. Come on. Come on, girl. Come on. So that is a young female Philippine crocodile, and they're extremely agile. And that's what I love about these bumpers too, is they can bump up to them, but they're just soft enough.
Come on.
But they're never gonna hurt them. Come on. She did get fed yesterday.
Yeah, these guys are always looking for food though. It's insane.
Oh, yeah. So we got the male here doing some morning sun.
And I'm pretty sure out of all the crocodiles we've moved so far, the Philippines have been the fastest to like adjust and like claim their territory. Like this is mine. I don't care about you guys walking around.
Oh, there she is.
And it's the bigger one. This one's from Tampa Zoo, right?
Yep. This is the one. And she's looking awesome in here.
Yeah.
Just very active. And that's what's so cool, guys, is like I said, I'm always learning. So, you know, these enclosures are working really well. That shallow section, they absolutely love yes, not only the shallow section, but that divider there.
They like sit on that.
They love resting on it. They love just having their head popped up. If they, you know, get spooked, they can shoot in the deep end. But it's just a great way that they can thermoregulate too. Instead of just having all out or all in the water, they can kind of pop their back up on that, just sunbathe on the top, and then they can still kind of keep cool, staying in the water. So it's working out tremendously well. So it's exciting to see. You know, like I said, you know, pretty much the culmination of me having crocodiles is learning and adjusting to better the crocodiles' lives. And I feel like we're really getting to the point that You know, I think we're about there as far as, you know, making enclosures that are, I mean, the best possible crocodilian enclosures, you know, as far as, you know, the enrichment, the and obviously maintenance, you know. So natural enclosures, quote unquote, is the best, but they're extremely maintenance heavy, and with so many crocodiles, so many enclosures, it's just not feasible. But also, these are extremely beautiful.
Yeah, because since you put the Niles in there, how much maintenance have you done?
None.
And how long? They've been there 2 months now.
Yeah, they've been there months, you know, and they're tearing it up. But even like the 6-inch drains, you know, they've tried to clog, but they just haven't, just because of the way we designed it, just because how big they are too. The feed lines, they can't bite, so they can't break them. We've learned a lot. I specifically have learned a lot being down here in the 7 years of what to do and a lot of what not to do. So this is a culmination of it.
Let's go take a look at those large enclosures then.
Yeah, let's do it. So before we get into the large enclosures, I want to show you something very cool. And this is this giant alleyway right here. And what this is going to be the elevated walkway. But I think it's a 235, 240 feet. It's going to be all elevated above this wood beam there.
How much above that? Like a foot?
About a foot.
Yeah.
And that beam is there because they're going to tie this piece, that wall to that wall together. They're going to tie it together with that the 2x8. And what this is going to be an elevated walkway throughout the whole area, so you're going to be able to look down on those enclosures, the extra large and the large enclosures. So it's really coming along. Honestly, all we need to do is tie these together and then
fill it with dirt,
and then we're going to add the trees because we want to make it as natural as possible. So instead of building a giant roof and a canopy and everything, we're going to use a natural canopy and just have trees along the middle of the walkway.
And why don't you do this? Well, how about you stand on one of the wood caps or wood siding so they can get kind of an idea of how high the walkway will be. I mean, it'll be a foot higher than the way where you're standing, but it'll give an idea of the vantage point.
Your foot's going to be up about here. So I'm shooting for about just a little bit more than 3 foot from here to your foot. So it really is, I mean, you can see right now I'm just looking over, but you're going to be up a foot higher. So it's going to be such a cool vantage.
I mean, how's that vantage point even being right there?
Good. I mean, I got long legs, so it's easy for me, but...
we'll do 1 foot higher, that way the kiddos can see over it.
Exactly. But that's just, again, I'm so excited about just being able to look over and see the crocs instead of looking through the fencing. So this is the large enclosures. Now obviously this one is a little different because it's right on the end. So we have this low sheet pile, and then we'll have the chain link on top. So when you first walk in, you can see this enclosure especially.
Similar to the Philippine on the corner.
Exactly, yeah.
2 sides.
Yep. So, did we show like all that even?
I don't know if we did.
So, I try to make as many changes as possible before Carlos finishes the project. So, we added another shallow section. So, again, I'm always learning, and I'm always learning the importance of visual barriers and having areas that can just get away from each other. So, I felt like this pond was huge. So we had a lot of space. So I decided to add another shallow section over here. So there's a shallow section there, the main one, and then there's a secondary one. And just in case they need to get away, you know, Crocodile can come in here, tuck himself in, you know, it's completely blocked from the rest of the pond. There's a feed line right there, so warm water will come in here, go out there, and then we got another feed line right here for warm water to come in here and go out. And then we're getting quotes on all the landscaping right now. A big tree over there. We'll have the cat palms in the corners, obviously, to let them hide in. And then philodendrons and all that stuff. So it's really coming along. And then, obviously, the feeding platform.
And before we get into that, how much space is there? I mean, obviously, it's hard to pick up on camera, but there's a lot of space in here for them to walk around on land.
There's a lot. Because, again, I always see the importance of land. You know, that's the biggest thing is, you know, from everything I've experienced, you know, I've learned that land is so underrated with crocodilians in captivity. And now I'm also going to preach about shade, because those Niles and all the crocodiles that, you know, are in these new enclosures that have all those cat palms and everything, they absolutely love them. So there's so many enclosures that I see that are just like, you know, it's a pond and then there's a ring of land around it. You know, there's not very many big land areas for them to walk around.
And typically it's a concrete pond, and
Yeah.
there's like a foot of grass around it, and they're like, ah, it does it.
Exactly, exactly. So the importance of shade, just low cover that for them to tuck under, because the crocs love to do that, and then the importance of just land. So obviously that's where these enclosures really shine, is we have all this land like Ryan talked about, all this land over here, and then we have the shallow sections, which are awesome, and then the deep section, which is going to be 6 foot deep, so plenty for them to really swim, use their tail and whatnot. And then there's going to be a shady section there, shady section there, shady section there, and then just all these different plants throughout.
And this
So
is
just-
one of the 2 designs. So the largest have 2 different designs. So
Exactly.
there's 4 of this L-shaped design. Okay, and then you got 3 of the other design, which we'll see here in a second.
Yes.
And why did you decide to switch up the designs?
I don't know. We were all collectively, even you. We were talking about. We kind of went over different designs, and we were like, we could do a rectangle with 2 shallow sections in the front, or we can do the L shape like we've been doing with most everything else. So it's actually kind of a combination of the extra larges. So so we just said, well, we have 7 to build. Why don't we do a couple of each? So that's what's cool, is like, figuring out what's going to be better for which species of crocodiles. So this is going to be also a rescue alligator sanctuary. So believe it or not, guys, we're actually going to put an alligator in here, just because we want to, really promote, the rescues, because it's not only about the species, it's also about the individuals, and that's what, this place is all about.
And you want to see a theme platform?
Yeah, let's do that.
So I mean, this is probably the coolest thing, in my opinion, that you've started doing with these new builds, is the feeding platform, because it gives you a completely different vantage point. And this one's what, 4 feet over the water?
Yes, yeah, this one's just like the extra larges. This one's a little lower, so instead of a 2x6, we went to a 4x4.
Okay.
I think you actually put two 2x4s together. So it's a little lower because I feel like that's a little higher, just because you can see we are pretty high up. So the water will be right there. So in order for these smaller crocodilian species in here to jump up, we definitely want to be a little closer.
And I want to tell people what we think we're going to be putting in here.
Yeah, we'll probably put, like, in the other enclosure, we'll put a trio of Yakari caiman. Like I said, an 8.5 foot alligator in here.
Which would be Gatorade, which they've seen.
Yes, Gatorade. So what else do we have? Permanent wise.
Permanent. Well, you got some that are going to be temporary. You got some unique crocs. You got some ones we haven't talked about yet. We got. Are you thinking of putting the salties growing in the mediums, right?
The salties? No, Pickle Rick.
The goldens, females.
Oh, yes, we're going to go mediums because that's temporary. The salties are going to go in these. So Pickle Rick and Vegemite are going to go in these. But no, wait, they're not.
They're not.
The other ones are.
The smaller
The
ones. The one that
jumpers, yeah.
jumps for your face.
And he's like 8 feet and she's like
7.
6, 7. Yeah, so they're going to be going in here. So the question is, this enclosure, or are we going to put them in that enclosure? So we'll show you guys that one. So we also have a back alleyway here. That's also, you can see how much higher it is. We have it sloped down. Probably can't see it on camera, but it's a foot higher than the existing dirt. So just, again, flood resistance.
And this will all be behind the scenes. This will be where we get in and can service and do all that.
So this is the different enclosure design, and it doesn't look very much right now, but we're actually going to put a planter in the middle there. We're going to have a philodendron or an elephant ear in the middle that will kind of drape over and just have a big plant,
in the pond for shade and cover.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the thing is, the more I keep modifying these ponds, it's more about visual barriers. So visual barrier there and a visual barrier for the L shape. So
and this is a big visual barrier here, which is unique because the other pond also has 2 shallow sections, but it's kind of like a planted visual barrier.
Yes, so this one's going to have 2 big cat palms. So we're going to put a big cat palm here and a big cat palm here that'll overhang over on either side and that side, and then this will overhang there and there. Just, again, a huge visual barrier.
And these ones just have probably the same amount of land space, but it's more of a rectangular space rather than a square space.
Exactly. So that one just has a narrower side over there, and a wider side over here. So this one is just very big throughout. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What is that?
About 10, a little over 10 foot. Because those are 18 inches, right?
No, they're 21s.
Oh, 21. Oh, okay.
9 times 1.75. So it's like just short of 16 feet from there to there.
That's a lot of space.
It's 36 foot wide.
And the biggest Crocs you'll have in here ever are probably is going to be the Gatorade, I would say.
Yeah, maybe like 10 foot.
Yeah, like
You know?
not very big. So
No.
So this will be able to satisfy them for their entire life,
Yes,
essentially.
Exactly. You know, this is 52 foot by 36 foot. So it's, and you can see how big this deep section is. You know, I was almost like, oh well, I think it's too big. Let's give them more land. But
Too late.
Much like the medium enclosures, it's too late. So that's why I was going to put a planter right there to really break it up. But it's going to be a great spot because you also have to remember, I have to remember that, in order for them to swim, they got to have a big open body of water. They can't just, just because they're in deep water doesn't mean they're going to be able to use everything.
Yeah, they can't just dunk.
They're going to have a good amount to really get cruising.
And this would be like for the Yucaris?
Yes, yeah. And I think this will be a good candidate for the salty pair. Because again, salties are jerks. So I think with having these two that are completely separate like this, I think it'll be great to have a big visual barrier there, and they can lay up over here, lay over there, and just completely not see each other.
And do you happen to know offhand how big the Yukari enclosure in the greenhouse is?
I'm gonna say, let's see, 42 minus 6 feet, let's say. So it's probably 35 feet, 36 feet.
Square?
36 feet this way, and then I think it's like maybe 30.
Okay.
So let's say 30 times 35 to be safe, so a little over 1,000 square feet.
So not only are they coming outside, but they're also getting a upgrade, a size upgrade.
Yes, so 1,000 feet, and this is almost double that. So this is 1,875 square feet, and that's 1,050. So a lot bigger. A lot bigger. All right, guys, well, that wraps up a very exciting update.
Yeah, if you guys liked today's video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you think of these new enclosures. Follow us on Instagram at Primitive Predators, and we'll see you on the next one.